If you want to actually find out where Bitcoin and ETH and crypto is heading in this turbulent time, this is the channel for you. I said on the 23rd of February, in the midst of a world war, that the markets don't care and we're heading to 71 and 74,000 US dollars. We are following this fractal almost to a T. If it ain't broken, don't try to fix it. We established 6 months ago where the price of Bitcoin is heading to next is bearish. Okay, it's actually bearish. It's not bullish, guys. We could do something like this, but we head up higher, and then something like this, guys. Yeah, and that's all she wrote. Shortly after, the entire market went down by a whopping 51%. Ethereum went down by 60%, Solana went down by 80%, and many other of your favorite coins went down by 99.9%. I kept on warning you and warning you and warning you again and again and again, but most of you didn't want to listen. You wanted to carry on partying. Even when the DJ was gone, the music stopped playing and the lights turned off. A lot of participants are still fighting this. They're still fighting this bear market. I really don't understand why. We had the same setup, the exact same setup. However, they're still fighting this. This was an upthrust. I don't know how many times I can tell you. This was distribution, further upthrust right over here, distribution. And again, we have distribution. How many times do I have to tell you, boys? We are in a state of emergency. Things are going to head down, but you don't want to hear it. Distribution here, followed by another distribution right over here. You will not, ladies and gentlemen, see another higher prices after this day. Let me repeat, you will not see higher prices after this day. We're going to form a double top, get to 71,000 US dollars and some change, and then hurdle downwards. Now remember, if it ain't broken, don't try to fix it. Every bear market has behaved literally the same, and you still want to fight this bear market. Keep doing that. 4 days ago, this is what I said. I'm anticipating liquidity to head back into the middle of the range, just like this. Then further upside, like we discussed earlier, finally making a higher low in that range. And then we have our capitulation moment. Interestingly enough, the RSIs look almost identical. As most of you are aware on this channel, we said it's going to head back down into the middle of the range, just like 2022, then head up here, maybe a slightly higher low, followed by a lower high. This is the 3 hour of Bitcoin's price. This is in 2026, and this is in 2022 bear market. If you still think we're not in a bear market, you deserve nothing but failure. Just to make it easier for participants to see, I'm going to show you something. So we're going to call this the point A right over here. We're going to call this point B right over here. Just bear with me and you'll understand what I mean. So we've put A here for the selling climax right over here, B at the higher ranges, C at the penultimate higher range, then D at the lower range, E at the middle of the range, F, G, H, I, J, K. Okay, same thing applied right over here. You have A right over here for selling max, selling climax. Then you have B right over here, but on this fractal over here, we didn't get to the very top of the range. Fractals are more like a roadmap to help us guide us where we are in the cycle. B right over here, C is the middle of the range, D was the very bottom of the range of 27,900. Over here was at 62,000 US dollars and some change. Then we missed E and F. E and F never happened during this period over here. We had a divergence during that period. Then we had G point, H, I, J, K, and then finally we have a capitulation moment. If you look very closely between the points of E and F, we didn't have an E and F during this period, ladies and gentlemen. It didn't happen during this period. Therefore, fractals can deviate slightly, but remember, if it ain't broken, don't try to fix it. Ethereum was even more easier to distinguish. Even Ray Charles knew that this was an upthrust right over here, and we peaked on both the fractals. We formed a pattern right over here, followed by another upthrust and another upthrust over here. picture perfect. I can't make this up. If it ain't broken, don't try to fix it. We had a diagonal trend line right over here and another diagonal trend line over here. Once we broke it, it was part one of capitulation. We headed into a selling climax, volume increased, headed into a selling climax. However, volume didn't increase here. We formed higher lows after higher lows after higher lows. However, on this occasion, we seem to be diverging slightly by forming our first higher high. There is a slight divergence between this area. We could call this point E to F, just like Bitcoin, like we said earlier, has divergences as well. There are slight divergences. I am anticipating further downside. From here to here, there was a price range of 32 days. From here in 2022 all the way to the first very capitulation, 29 days before we headed downwards and made durable lows. 29 days, and this is 32 days. There has to be a decisive move in ranges. It's either distribution or it's either accumulation. When the golden support turns negative, ladies and gentlemen, that's the first sign of a bear market. The golden support has turned negative and now it's a bear market resistance band. And every time we hit this, it's normally an indication that sellers are going to sell and there's going to be further downside. Well, I did warn you. I kept on warning you and warning you and warning you. I was early, but I wasn't wrong. I said that we formed an Adam and Eve and now we're heading downwards. I was early, but I was right, ladies and gentlemen. We're heading to this area here, then finally we're heading to this area. The Russell 2000, I told you it was a false prophet. I told you. It's gone down by 10%. Dow Jones has broken its previous yearly high and we're down from wick to trough a massive 7%. Nasdaq also down. Adam and Eve right over here, we're heading to the moving average. So far it doesn't look good. We're down on the yearly from here to there, a whopping 7%, ladies and gentlemen, and this isn't over. This is far from over. This is my tweet on Sunday before the market opened, before anything. It was at $80, ladies and gentlemen, and I said on Monday, today it will hit $120. Today it hit $119.68. History always repeats, and one thing I can definitely tell you is that we never ever learn from history. In February 24th, 2022, that was the first real Russia and Ukraine war. This right over here was February, right over here, February 2022, when the war kicked off, right over here. Oil went up from here all the way till here, a massive 43%. So far, this is the biggest weekly candle we've ever seen in history, in oil's history. It went up a whopping 77%. Now, there are some similarities between the oil price today and the 1980s. I got a very serious question for you. What goes up when oil goes up? Have a guess. This chart and this chart look identical, almost picture perfect. Oil is a massive component of inflation. Some of you are really slow out there. If the CPI goes up, what happens to Bitcoin? What happens to risk assets? What happens to all of your shit coins? Did you know every time there is an oil shock, the housing market goes into a recession? 1973 to 1974, oil embargo, housing recession fell to 40%. 1971 to 1978, it was the oil crisis. Mortgage rates hit 18%. We had a housing crisis. 1990 was a Gulf War. Oil spiked 70%. We had a recession. And finally, in 2007 and 2008, oil spiked. 1 barrel of oil got to $147. We had the global GFC crisis. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we're very close to $150. What happens next? If you made it to the end, guys, smash that like button. Love you all. See you soon. Peace.